Welcome to Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the podcast dedicated to commercial food equipment repair industry. My name is Pat Finley. I'm a lead master certified technician at Gerald Parts Group and a certified special trainer. Our goal is to shine light on what we believe to be one of the most interesting and rewarding industries a field service technician can work in. We love the work we do, and we are glad you're listening to the podcast. In this episode, we feature Adam Roberts with Elite Kitchen Services in Iowa. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. And before I get started, I wanted to play this video. This is Matt Brunning. We had him on a couple weeks ago, and a few weeks ago he was on, and he owns and runs restaurant equipment diagnostics, and he was on the show. Matt and his team were already killing it, but he reached out to us the other day to tell us that being on the show has opened doors and made an impact on him and his company. And here's what he has to say.
Hey, Pat, Rich, it's Matt with Restaurant Equipment Diagnostics in West Virginia. Just want to reach out real quick and thank you guys for having me on your podcast. Since then, it's really opened doors in the industry and networking in ways I had no idea I even needed. I've had some very big names in the industry, email, call. It's helped me pick up some more authorized service agency agreements. You guys are crushing it. Keep it up. And thank you for all you do for our industry. If I can help in any way, just reach out. Thanks, guys.
So that was pretty cool. I appreciate Matt reaching out and making that video for us. Matt's a really good dude, and he is killing it out there at Bread. And I look forward to talking to him again, seeing how he's growing. And so, with that being said, tonight I am joined by Rich Ortega, and we have very special guest Adam Roberts with Elite Kitchen Services on. So, what's going on, Rich?
What's up? What's up? Just another day, officially 1 month as a business owner. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, Adam, one of the reasons I had him on, I mean, me and him talk a lot on LinkedIn, but he's also one of the people that was just like, do it, make the leap. If you need any advice, whatever, I got you, all that stuff. And we've had a ton of conversations. But yeah, what's up with you guys?
Not much. It's been a rough couple weeks, into the month, how it goes, trying to get caught up and that kind of stuff. And then been busy. Yesterday's a birthday, today's anniversary. So just trying to spend time with the family and friends and that kind of stuff and balance everything. It's a never ending battle. What about you, Adam?
Things are definitely picking up. We haven't hit the summer crunch yet, but I feel like for me anyhow, it's certainly starting to ramp up, which is good for the business.
Yeah, it's always good being busy.
Heck
So,
yeah.
Let's go through a brief history of like how you got started in the trades. I know you started off pretty young in high school. You want to talk about that and how you ended up where you're at now?
Sure. So I started out when I was 17. I was a junior in high school. Had a guy out fixing our furnace, and he asked me, he goes, "What are you doing this summer? Are you interested in coming and work for me?" Well, absolutely, And hell, I was young and looking for a job or looking to make some money. Didn't know it would pan out to be what it is now, but I worked all summer. Kind of continued through the school year, helping him when I could, or when I didn't have any school. And that next summer come around, I went back to work for him. I obviously graduated, and I worked for him for about 5 years, running service, a lot of installs on the residential side, very, very little commercial. And just through like Johnstone Supply, they kind of got me in the doors to a company, a Surfesta company in the area doing food service work, refrigeration, cooking. Got on there, basically got pretty much thrown right to the wolves, sink or swim. On call the first week I was there. And yeah, I worked there 15 years. Been to multiple manufacturer trainings over those 15 years. I basically worked on everything they had, or everything in the restaurant. Also done a lot of installs while I was running service for that company, for another company here local that sells restaurant equipment, new schools, restaurants, the whole works. So they would sub out the installs to us, and I'd run their installs. Well, one day they kind of hit me up for a job. They wanted to open up an install department. I went to work for them. I was doing all their bidding, all their quoting of all the labor, plumbing supplies, refrigeration materials, hardware for hanging hoods. So I was quoting all that, lining up the jobs, or managing the process of the job, making sure I had the fork trucks available to unload the semis, and training the guys. I had 4 guys working under me. After about 2 years of that, I decided to start my own business. So that's when I opened up Elite Kitchen Services. It's been steadily growing since then, and I enjoy it. I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do.
So where are you based out of?
I'm located in just outside of Iowa City, Iowa, and I pretty much try to stay within 30 minutes of Iowa City area. So
It's easy.
Yeah.
So did you just had enough of working for someone else and want to do your own thing one day, or has it always been a goal of yours to be out on your own, or what brought that out?
Well, I've had numerous people tell me, "Hey, when you can go out on your own." This is even back when I was doing HVAC work. Hey, you should be going out on your own, and I just really wasn't ready for it then. Then when I started, kind of after I learned more of the office side of things, managing people, bidding jobs, learning Davisware, learning that software. I kind of realized, hey, this isn't that bad. And I had a couple of restaurants say, hey, when you going out on your own? And I finally says, let's do it. So I feel timing was excellent. I had people recommending me for service that I actually just realized that here within the last couple of months. I had another solo operator recommending me. I had no idea who the guy was until just recently. So he knew who I was. I didn't know who he was.
That's cool. Yeah, I walked into a place yesterday and the lady's like, "Oh, just so you know, I'm in a Facebook group with all the restaurant operators in the area, and I threw all your information there because everybody wants a new company." And I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah, cool."
Yeah, word of mouth can make or break a company, especially just starting out. If you get someone's recommended you to share you, that's gonna go a long way.
That's where most of my clientele customers have come from, is just word of mouth. And I just picked up a new account today, and it was, hey, so-and-so told me to call you. I was like, awesome.
Nice. So do you have anybody working for you currently?
Yeah, so I just hired a guy here within the last month. He worked for a company out of New Jersey, or Boston, Massachusetts, not New Jersey, Boston, Massachusetts. And I worked for a company out there, and decided to move back home. So I moved back home, and he applied, and I interviewed and hired him. So I think he's going to work out real well for me. Seems to want to learn. Obviously, 6 months, he doesn't know everything yet. He's got a lot to learn, but he's wanting to learn, and I think I'll be ready to set him loose here pretty quick.
So about how old is he?
20.
Wow.
Okay, good, because I want to steer that into the rant that Pat had the other day.
Let's go right into it.
The post, or I think it was a comment on the post, started with young people don't. Yeah, there was a post about a guy asking ideas how to train, some new guys that he's got working with him, and of course, the first comments was these new guys don't want to learn. So I shared my thoughts on that, and Pat shared some of his. What are your thoughts? I mean, I know this is probably the first guy you've hired, right? Or you've got more people?
So this is the first guy I've hired for Elite Kitchen Services. When I was with the other company, I hired 4 guys there, and they were all 18 to 21, 22 years old there as well. Couple of them worked out real well. Couple of them didn't want to work, but it's all in the personality of the kid, the person. At that age, thing with that age, they're still learning what they want to do. And that's a tough. I mean, you got to kind of read that when you interview them. And it was this kid here. Luckily, he had 6 months of experience working for another company, and he applied. Obviously, he wanted to keep going. He wanted to stay in the industry. Otherwise, he would have, went to electrical or plumbing or who knows where. And that was the reason why I chose to hire him too.
That's good. That's good. It just drives me nuts when I see the comments, man. I'm guilty of saying stuff I probably shouldn't say on the internet, and I gotta realize, I'm where I should do some things I do probably. But that comment, it always strikes a nerve because my son's 21 years old. He started his 20, and he wanted to learn. He fought tooth and nail to get into it. I didn't want him to get into it, and it's been one of the greatest things that ever happened to him. But I mean, you got to figure out how to teach these guys. I mean, it's not like in my rant, I said it's not like when we started. I started 18 years ago, and there was nothing like it is today. Nothing had touchscreen. I mean, there was boards. They weren't complex. I mean, you walk up to a fryer today, it's got a touchscreen on the front. You hit a button, it goes down, it comes up. I mean, it's got boards, top of boards. It takes a different kind of person to teach nowadays than it did back then. And the guys saying this are the guys that just, figure it out. I mean, well, you can't just figure out the same.
Yeah, when we started, you could, if you fixed one thing, you could fix anything because it was all basically the same crap. But that's definitely not where it's at. And part of my point, on that particular post was that, I mean, it's not an age thing. Yes, there's lazy younger people, but like I said earlier, I mean, I've worked with people that are 40, 50 years old. You know what I mean? Doing refrigeration for 20 years, and you can't get them to give you the high side and the low side pressure. You're just, my pressure was 25 and what, you know what I mean? So it's not a specifically a younger generation thing.
Right. And they're set in their ways at that point too. If you're trying to bring somebody in and train them or train them how you want things done, it's easier to train somebody young that doesn't know any different than it is to train somebody 40, 50 years old, how you want things done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the point. It's super hard trying to break bad habits. I'd rather start over with a green tag. Someone has no idea or anything than try to break bad habits a lot of times.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
So what have you seen is some of the struggles or successes you've had as being a business owner? You want to break down some of the stuff you've seen?
Oh, probably my biggest challenge is both running the office, running the books, and being out in the field at the same time. There's times I'm in the office here till 7, 8 o'clock at night, billing jobs out or making sure I got parts or jobs lined up. So that's my biggest struggle, and something I'm hoping to get somebody here in the office maybe next year. But that's something I got to work towards, is getting somebody in the office so I can be out in the field and not have to worry about it.
That's a good point. Yeah, trying to balance both ends of it's a little rough.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, you're ordering parts, you're coming in and invoicing. I'm not sure what software you use, if you use any, but trying to invoice, sales, everything else, it's kind of, man, that's the thing. People say they want to run a business because they can fix stuff. Well, just because you can fix stuff doesn't mean you can run a business.
Yeah, right. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yep.
So, still on that, I mean, what has been some of your bigger successes? So, I mean, I know it's a lot of hard work and dedication. But what do you take away from that hard work and dedication? What, are you proud that you completed certain jobs, or what's your biggest success in your mind?
I like the one-on-one relationships I have with my customers. I always tell everybody I have the best customers out there that I could have. I have. I walk into a restaurant. A lot of times they'll recognize me right off the bat, and I get free appetizers or free round of drinks. I mean, that's my biggest thing is I love the one-on-one relationship I have with my customers. And it's stronger now that I'm out on my own than it was with other companies, just because when they call, they know they're getting me on the phone. They know I'm coming in to service the equipment, which obviously that's going to change as things grow. But that's one thing I want to try to strive to keep and maintain is that personal relationship I have with my customers. So
That's
So,
always
what do you think is the key to that, to keeping that relationship? Especially, what do you think it'll be as what's the key to keeping it now, and then as you grow, what do you think the key will be?
I'm not sure how that looks as I grow yet. Right now, I mean, they call, for a service call, and I make sure I always check in with them at the restaurant, and that's the biggest thing is they love knowing who they're going to get for service. They love having that same tech every time, and that's one thing I'm going to try to maintain is make sure that I send the same person to the same calls, same customer most of the time. And that way I can keep that relationship, and my employees can have that same relationship that I like. Because that's what the customer wants.
that personalized level is key. I think, especially being a newer company and smaller companies, they can build a relationship with you, like a relationship with your other tech, and that's really good.
Yeah, I've seen companies do that they'll send us 99% of the time it's the same tech servicing the same accounts, and it's exactly what you said. That tech can build a relationship with the customer. Customer comes to trust that tech. The tech has a better idea of the the life cycle data and all that stuff related to each individual piece. That tech can tell the customer, look, this thing is 12 years old and it's going to cost you, $1,300 to put in a compressor or whatever they need to tell them, and steer that customer in a way that is a lot more beneficial for the customer. But, doing that, I think is beneficial for you as a service company. Also, when the customer knows they can trust the tech, there's going to be a lot less looking around and a lot less second guessing what you say. So I do think that is a key, because I've seen that done before.
Yeah, where I used to work at, we had zones, and it was two of us in that zone, so the customer was only seeing me or another guy, and we had pretty good relationships with our customers. And where I'm at now, I have customers that request only me, and they'll wait a week, 2 weeks if they have to get me in there. So, I mean, there's no better feeling than a customer that's willing to wait to get you in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So sweet. So, what do you look forward to in your business? Just more growth, or I know you said you want looking for some office staff maybe next year. So you just want to continue that growth pattern for next few years, or?
Yeah, I'd like to get 4 or 5 techs, including myself, and a person in the office would be probably my goal. That's kind of where my goal is, I guess. That's been kind of my goal since I started this or went out on it. I've kind of designed everything and built it on a platform for growth. So,
how big is Iowa City? I've never been there, so I'm not sure how big of a market it is. I mean, I don't know, how many people or how big of a city it really is.
Compared to where some other locations are, it's not huge, but it's a pretty good area. Cedar Rapids is a good sized community as well, and it's only 30 minutes away. The company I worked at before, they had 6 techs at the time. I was one of the 6. They've kind of dropped off a little bit, unfortunately, but they're still around. Then the company that I worked for as an install manager, they have, I think they're at 6 techs now too. There's plenty of work out there. There certainly is. So I guess I'm not really worried about not having enough work. It's just obviously that work's got to come from somewhere if I do continue to grow. So
I wasn't sure of the market, so that's pretty cool. It's you got a decent sized city, and there's another big city fairly close, so that works out pretty well. So you said your goal is what, 5 techs? Is that just a temporary goal, or is that just your next step before you decide to do more?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's probably my long-term goal. I don't know if I want to be so big that I gotta that much more to manage. I just think that's a good number for on-call rotation, I guess, is kind of what I'm getting. Reason why that's my goal, I guess.
Yeah, 5 or 6 week rotation is not bad at all.
Yeah, not at all.
So do you do hot side and refrigeration? HVAC, do it all, hoods and all?
Yes. Yep. Everything in the kitchen, basically. I don't do a whole lot of HVAC work just because I'm busy enough with everything else. But exhaust hoods, all the cooking equipment, all the refrigeration equipment, minor plumbing, minor electrical. So.
Was it you that laid some floor for a customer also, or am
I did, yes.
Yeah.
So I am certified to do protect all flooring. It's that rubberized flooring you see in the kitchen. So I'm certified to do that. I got certified to do that at last company. It was kind of a direction that they wanted to go. And it was more of a kind of slow time during the year, January, February, when the restaurants kind of slow down. I had a few restaurants kind of reach out and say, hey, we want to remodel our kitchen. I know the perfect solution. So I took on 3 projects actually laying that flooring.
Oh, sweet.
That's pretty cool stuff. I mean, that works. I mean, that makes 100% sense for the install company because, hey, we can do this floor before we bring the equipment in. I imagine in a remodel, it's probably paying the butt moving equipment around, dragging stuff out, cleaning the floor.
Yeah.
We all know what these kitchen floors look like, so I'm not sure what that stuff will stick to, but I'm sure you got to clean it pretty well.
So both of the 3 locations I did, we had 2 new subfloor down in 2 of them.
Okay.
The third one was just over concrete, and I cleaned it. We'd done one big job here in town. I wouldn't do the flooring on that because it was a full scale restaurant. And we basically had 4 days that we gutted the kitchen, done the flooring, and I had to have that kitchen up and running. So I moved all the equipment out, as more of the general contractor than anything, I guess, on that one. I moved all the equipment out, put all the equipment back in, and was kind of the point of contact in a roundabout way for some of the flooring and some of the work being done. We rebuilt a wall in the dish room and put new FRP up and some ceiling work and a lot of moving parts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's way beyond anything I'm trying to do.
It's for a good customer of mine, and that was the only reason why I did it.
It's cool though. I mean, it's cool. I like to see the different things people are willing to get into, because there's stuff I get into that sometimes, other people, or at least most techs, don't want to touch it. And I'm like, oh, this could possibly cause an explosion. I'll do it. I'm all over it.
Yeah. At a branch I used to work at, we'd patch concrete curbs. We'd paint like the yellow lines on the curbs. They do bathroom stall, like dividers and stuff. I was like, dude, that branch drove me nuts, man. I was fine fixing stuff, but you got me out here patching concrete curbs.
I've hung TVs. I've fixed chairs or booths before. Hung baby changing stations. Customer wants it done. I'm sure they want to pay me to do it. All right.
I like that though, especially as you grow. You know what I mean? Who knows what other stuff you'll be able to branch into because you're willing to do all that kind of stuff. You know, you might end up being a full, restaurant rehab company as part of what you're doing. Who knows?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So when you were 17 years old, did you think you'd be a business owner? Did you think you'd be where you're sitting at right now?
I wasn't much older than that when I was first getting asked to go out on my own. And I do a lot of work for the same family now. And that same family is one of them that was pushing me to go out on my own. But back then, that same family was more into residential apartment buildings and whatnot. So I was they were pushing me to go out on my own at that time, kind of do, furnace change outs for them primarily and service work. And at that time, I wasn't confident enough in my abilities as a service tech to do that. So I never dove in. I mean, yeah, I went out and helped them on service calls here and there. But that was about the end of it then. So I can't say I really knew I was going to be at that time, but it doesn't surprise me. That's the way it worked out.
So you kind of grew into it though?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, people always say, "Oh, you will go on your own." I'm like, man, maybe 15 years ago, I would have thought about it. And nothing against. I'm all for anybody doing whatever they want to do. The dreams, Rich recently went on his own. I support him 100% in everything he does. I know he's got the right mentality where he's going to take care of his customers. And he's going to take care of his customers first, and the rest is going to fall into place. So, I just, I want everybody to succeed no matter what they do. So that's just me.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I am. There's enough for everybody to do good, in my opinion.
There is, absolutely. There's plenty of work out there and everything.
So do you do warranty work for any manufacturers, or are you mainly just out of warranty service, or do you do everything?
I have a few manufacturers I do warranty for. So I was just recently went out to XLT oven factory training.
Okay.
I do some Henny Penny warranty work. I just took a warranty call for Comstock Castle.
Comstock Castle.
And then
you don't see that. You don't see those very often.
You don't.
I get a certain nursing home chain. They all have a Comstock Castle fryer.
Yeah.
One single Comstock Castle fryer. I was like, what in the world?
I used to see a lot of those back in the day in Florida.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think it all depends on the sales, who's selling equipment in your area, really, for a lot of that stuff.
So Hatco, that's cool. So you work on decent stuff, then. Are you continuing to try to push that more to get more, or if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
That's just it. If it comes, it comes. I could do some Manitowoc warranty work. And then I've done warranty work for Arctic as well. So I guess when I come across something that's warranty, first thing I do is I call into the factory and see if I can be authorized. And I have a few customers that have called into the factory and say, "Hey, I only want this guy doing my warranty work." So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't for them.
Yeah. It just depends, I guess, on the equipment too. I know some of this more complex equipment, they like to freak out. Oh, they haven't been trained. They haven't been to the factory. We don't want them touching it. But
should I let out the spoiler alert for the manufacturers? The people that go to the factory are never the ones that actually work on the stuff.
Right.
I had that discussion with somebody. That's why he was like, "Hey, I want you to do our warranty work, but I haven't seen you in our training. And I looked all the way back to 2018. I'm like, oh, you should have just dropped me a DM. I never been to your training. I said, but I work on your crap all the time.
That's funny. Yeah, like
You see Jay in the comments there. Jay said, what?
what? Jay, I got labeled like our #1 convo term guy, and eventually I was like, man, you guys gonna train anybody on this stuff? And like, what do you mean? Like, we got you do it. I'm like, I'm not trained on it. I was like, I have no idea. I just figure it out. I was like, are you gonna train these guys or just make them figure it out like I did? And eventually they sent some people to training.
Yeah, that's
but
like
I didn't get it. Like, oh, you know what you're doing. I'm like, no, I don't.
That's like what do you call it? Brian in the comments there. Brian Adderholt's one of my old coworkers. He probably has the least factory training of anybody I ever worked with, but he works on everything. He's like, he's told me that, why don't you send the train guy to do it? They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, just because you've been in the factory doesn't mean you can fix it. I mean, it's like everything we work on. It's a wild environment.
Dude, so what's your favorite thing to work on?
Oh, I like working on combis. I always have, I guess. The more that I've gotten into them, the more I've gotten into them, the more I like working on them. The thing I hate the most would probably be fryers. So,
any particular fryer?
A greasy one.
So you don't care about the brand.
I don't care about the brand. Yeah.
Brand new ones are good. Once they start using them, he doesn't want to touch them anymore.
Right. Yes.
He loves startups and installs. That's about it.
That's funny. I mean, I don't know. I've never had a problem with fryers. I mean, I cut my teeth in McDonald's, though. You know, that was my first customers were McDonald's, and that's all I knew was electric fry masters, gas high efficiency fry masters. I mean, that's all I did for like half a day every day for 3 years. Seemed like so. Yeah. It never bothered me.
It don't faze me, and I've said it on the show here before. You know, my grandfather did this work, and he would always say, he's like, you ever take a crap, wipe yourself, and the toilet paper breaks? He said, what you do? You wash your hands? That's what you do when the grease gets on you. Wash your hands. Now shut up and do your job.
Well, I carry Viper wipes from our friends.
I carry those now too. Yep.
Technologies. And I clean my hands, my arms, my armrest of my vans, my tools.
Yep.
It's amazing. That grease will eat your tools. It eats the rubber off your drills, your screwdriver handles, everything. And so those Viper wipes, you know, they do a great job, man. So shout out to our friends at Refrigeration Technologies.
Yeah, those things are sick. I love those Viper wipes.
So any tips, tricks, or special tools or anything you use that maybe some other people don't know about?
Nothing that I can think of. Pinch off pliers, but everybody's using those now with R290. I mean, I was using them before R290. I love them.
Yeah, do you use the vice grip style, or do you use the style that had the round over the blocks, or what style do you use?
It's basically the blocks with the rounds to re-round the holes. But yeah, I've been using those for quite a while on process tubes, and one of my favorite ways of using them, or favorite things to use them on, is if I got a process tube or a solder on pressure control. I'll pinch that off, cut the pressure control off of there, then solder on a line tap and convert it to a Ranco. If it's not OEM, or if it's OEM, I'll put a new solder on one on, and I don't lose the whole charge, and I can get in and out of there quicker.
Machine.
I had Manitalk tell me one time when I had to change, I think either the fan cycle or the pressure control, you're gonna have to recover the charge. I'm like, no, I'm not. Yeah, you are. I guarantee you're gonna have to. I did that whole thing in, I don't know, 30 minutes, pinched it off, changed the control, rerouted it. They literally were like, hey, why's the bill so little? They called back. They're like, did you pull a vacuum and this and that and the other? I'm like, bro, I told you I did not need to take out any of the charge. I think it was perfect.
I think one of the times that I was using those, I had one of the gals in the billing office when I was a service tech for the other company call me up and says, hey, you didn't put any refrigerant on this. You don't have any vacuum on this. And how'd you do this in only an hour? And I was like, pinch off pliers? What's that? So I had to take a picture of it and send it to them, what I was using. And they kind of left me alone then, but it was like they never heard of it then. But yeah, that was before our 290.
Yeah.
So when I teach at Cefesa, I teach refrigeration at Cefesa, and I do brazing, and I show the class. I show them how to press. I do stuff with rapid locking system, so I let them press a fitting in their little mock-up they make. But then I also have them pinch off and pull off a port under pressure and braze it closed like you would have to on R290, or even non R290 critical charge systems. They didn't leave ports on there, so I make the guys do it, and if they can't do it, they have to do it again. It's just you're going to have to be able to do that, and you want to be comfortable doing it outside of a unit before you even try doing it inside a unit, because I've seen some units where people tried pinching them off and they didn't check see if they still had pressure, and next thing you know, there's a blowtorch underneath their control compartment of their cooler, and their cooler don't work anymore.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, it's not as dangerous as people make it seem, but if you do it and it's still blowing by, it's just pretty much a torch until it runs out. I mean,
you're telling it's 290.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either you can pinch it down more and stop it, or you just gotta let it go. It's your choice at that point in time.
See, what I like to do, if I'm just like pinching to close the line back off, I'll usually pinch in two spots. So I'll use the pinch off pliers, I'll use the block, and then I'll braze obviously after the block. As long as you got two pinch off spots, you got nothing coming by.
Right. Yep.
You should be careful because some of this copper is pretty soft, man. You can pinch right through that shit.
I've done that. Yep.
Yep.
Or you pinch it off, you braze it off, and you go to bend it back in, it breaks off. You're like, oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mostly on the Chinese units, I've had that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to worry about those Chinese line sets too, because they're not the same thickness. And if you use like the press tools, it'll get you in some trouble.
Yeah, I've seen that.
We were talking about that a couple weeks ago at RLS when I was over there, that someone had a bunch of fittings they weren't making, they were leaking, and come to find out that the supply house got a bunch of this line sets in real cheap and didn't tell nobody. If you're brazing, it's not a big deal. You're filling in the gap, but if you're pressing, it's kind of critical.
Yep.
So something to watch out for.
That wasn't related to that post where the guy was like, such and such, was it a zoo or something, had 200 fittings, and all the fittings were bad or some crap like that.
Hulk smash. He's kind of disappeared. If I went and checked on him, and he's kind of gone.
Yeah, just that post drove me nuts, because I'm like, under no other circumstances do you have 200 failures in one location and blame the part that you put on. But because it was a discussion about press fittings, it was 200 bad press fittings that allegedly got put on. And I'm like, at what point do you as the installer take responsibility for that, bro?
I feel like it has to be some sort of install problem if you're having that many leaks on press.
I've only had
one location at that.
At one location, yeah.
Yeah.
I've only had one leak, and it was my fault, and I clearly owned it 100%. Now I've seen some leak on fittings coming from the factory, not the manufacturer of the fittings, but the equipment manufacturer, and they leak, and I pulled them out because I was going to send them back to RLS, and like, oh, I looked down in there, you can see like they didn't chamfer deburr it, the O-rings pushed out. I'm like, trash, throw the trash. I'm not even sending that back. I'm like, that's just failure of proper installation techniques. So Jay's got a question. He wants to know, are the Chinese flooding the hot side with cheap equipment like refrigeration? I've seen a few hit or miss things. There's some weird stuff, some rebranded stuff. Some dealers put their name on it. Like, was it Kitchen Monkey or something I seen that was kind of weird once?
Kitchen Monkey? I never seen that.
It was like Kitchen Monkey or something. There's some wild ones out there.
I know there's, what is it, Motac, which is like K-Tom, but it's spelled backwards. So it's their line. Then you got, what you call it, Avanco, Webster Store got all their crap, and then whatever else. But even with that cheap stuff, I'm noticing it seems like the price is going up on that stuff, because where that stuff was disposable before, people are like, no, let's go ahead and fix it. I'm like, on this piece of crap? Then when you look at what it goes for now, it's like, oh man. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they're selling low end stuff, but it's not cheap like it was a few years ago when it was all disposable.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like there's some quality in some of that now.
Yeah.
So
There are some
more.
Chinese brands that actually make some decent quality stuff that I've seen.
Yeah.
So we got another question here. EC to fix. Are press fittings allowed for hydrocarbon systems? He doesn't do refrigeration anymore. No, they are not allowed on A3s. They are allowed and encouraged on A2L stuff coming out, but A3s, which is your R290, R600, they're not allowed on. So, I wish they would. I know where there's a 4-door Delfield reach-in freezer that's got some 1/4-inch couplings in it. I think you can hear it running down there. I'll be a guinea pig. I don't care.
Any idea why they're not allowed? Like, is there a particular reason, or is it just CYA kind of thing?
It's CYA, and people are scared.
Yeah.
You know me, I was poking a bear today with my little video. I'm spraying. I had a leak. I pumped that thing up with gas and got it running, and it was dropping pressure. And man, I was like, man, where's this going? So I checked the back, couldn't find it, and I went around to the front and I pulled the evaporator cover off. And if you watch the full video on YouTube, you can see it's like a big ball of ice. I was like, oh, let me knock this ice off of here. So I'm using my meta glasses, which are pretty cool, but you can only record a minute at a time. So I stopped it and knocked the ice off, and I hit it like twice, and all of a sudden, it just started spraying everywhere. I was like, oh, found the leak. But I just thought it was funny because I stood up and I looked, and like right next to it's a bank of 4 fryers. Right behind me is a flat top grill. It's gas. Right behind it's a charbroiler. Right behind it's gas pizza ovens. I was like, oh, and everyone's worried about A2Ls.
Right, for real.
I'm dumping propane out this thing left and right. It's just funny. I had to poke the bear a little bit with that post, try to get some engagement up.
It worked.
Yeah,
I'm sure it did.
So, are you active anywhere on social media? Just LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I got a Facebook page, Elite Kitchen Services. That's primarily my company social media. LinkedIn's more personal, professional, I guess. So
I try to be personal and professional, and then I just occasionally I'll throw some stuff on there joking around. Rich doesn't care. Rich just throws it all everywhere, and what sticks, man. I like it.
I'm just me. I'm me 24/7. If y'all haven't figured that out yet, I don't care where I'm at.
So Jay says Colback is testing R454A for split systems and R54C for package units, releasing in January 2026, not 2016. So that's cool to see they're testing out some other stuff.
Jay's asking, does he want to sign up to be a Colpack FAS?
Oh, there you go.
Absolutely, yes. I thought I was, but yes, if I'm not, absolutely.
Hit Jay up on LinkedIn, and he will get you squared away, man. He's always looking for people that do quality work and care to take care of their customers. So EC to fix is an air question. He wants to know, is there any special training mandatory to work on hydrocarbon systems? No, there is not. I would suggest at least watching some proper procedures because you are dealing with propane or butane. When I teach people, I teach them to, you never want to unbraze anything. You want to cut everything out. But what I do is it's non-invasive testing. So you're checking temperatures and amp draw versus, pressures. And then once you think you determine you're low on charge, and you can put a tap on the system. If I know I'm getting in the system, I will cut I generally cut the high side, and I put a tap on the low side, and I will vent the charge under a hood, and then I will hook my nitrogen up to it, and I will run it for like 5 minutes on the purge setting. And I just let it blow it out, and I just do that. I go out and start bringing stuff in. If I'm changing compressor, that's when I'm going out, getting a compressor, bringing stuff in, getting my torches. And then after that 5 minutes, I like to just run a leak detector across there and see if it picks it up. If it does, purge a little longer. If it doesn't, I know I'm good to go.
Yeah, that's basically what I do. Disclaimer here, really, it's just like, don't be a dummy, and you'll be safe with R290. It's basic common sense stuff. Just to put it in perspective, your torch that you're going to use to fix the system is probably 4,000 times more dangerous than the system itself. Absolutely. And people aren't tripping about the torch. So
when you can buy an R290 charging kit and it comes with a plastic hose and John gas fittings, all my concern goes out the window. And that's what my charging kit is. Mine's that one's got like little John Guest fittings and a weighted puck you screw it onto, and so you got a little plastic valve. I'm like,
wow.
this is cheap, and it works. It's not that $200 or $300 Yellow Jacket kit.
No, man.
So anything you see, already said you don't like working on fryers. Make sure you hit up Jay.
Yeah, I definitely will.
He's always got training going on. He travels across the country training. Colpack's really cool people to work with, so that'd be great.
They are.
I don't think there's anything else I want to talk about. Rich, you got anything?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head right now. I think we kind of covered all the bases. Anything you want to share in particular, Adam? Any thoughts, with your experience and all that stuff? Any, motivation or what you would say to, either new people coming in the industry or, new people getting ready to start out on their own or thinking about it or whatever, just like your overall thoughts.
For the young kids thinking about, or anybody looking at getting in the trade, don't be afraid. It's an awesome trade. And one of the guys that posted on LinkedIn, that I think it was LinkedIn, that you can make a whole lot of money in this trade without going to school, and getting basically trained to do it. So that's why I encourage the young kids that are interested to, keep learning it. And then, the guys like you and me that want to go out on their own, and, you can only live once. Absolutely. I would, if that's what you want to do, I'd support it 100%. For me, it was a good decision. I love it. And I wish I probably would have done it sooner.
That's good. So,
Sweet.
yeah, that's my goal. I'm not against older people joining this career, joining this trade, but I think the long-term solution to our staffing shortages is the 18 to 25-year-olds. Let's get the people that maybe went to college and came out and realized that this degree is not going to do it for me. They can't find a job, and that. Let's get the kids that have ADHD and can't sit through class and don't want to go to college, because guess what? That was me. I could barely sit through, school every single day. ADHD, couldn't focus, had terrible grades because, schools teach you a certain way. If you don't fall in the line, you just, you're left behind. So, and this job's great for people that have ADHD because you can work on a million different things, do a bunch of different things every single day, not be bored. So, I think the answer is that 18 to 25-year-old age demographic, and really get the word out what we're doing, and people like you on LinkedIn and us, and just being out there, social media, showing off what we do. I think is making a huge difference. We played the video of Matt Brunty, before we started the show about how just coming on here has opened a lot of doors. I've got a lot of feedback from guys like, hey, I took a chance, I applied here, I got an interview, I got this job.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. Because I'll tell you, there's days I feel like I'm not making any difference or any headway with none of this stuff, and I'm beating myself up. I'm like, why am I doing this? And then, I'll get a message like we got from Matt or from someone that decided they want to try this, and it makes it all worthwhile. So,
no, I think what you're doing is great. Keep it up.
It's fun. It's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
I had to have my little Jason moment there since he's not here. So tell everybody where to find you on LinkedIn, and then plug your company stuff. And then I'll put links in the show notes to Elite Kitchen Services and to your LinkedIn if you want, so people can connect with you and, socialize and maybe grow some relationships that way.
Yeah, my LinkedIn's just Adam Roberts. I don't know what else it would be, or the small lettering, I guess. But and then the business is under Elite Kitchen Services on Facebook. I also have a website as well. So yeah, feel free to check both the website out and Facebook if you're not, and please like and share my post.
Will do. So, Adam, we really appreciate you coming on, man. It was nice to talk to you, and I look forward to hearing more from you, and I look forward to seeing your growth here soon, man.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Have a good night, guys.
Yep.
If you guys would, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. It really helps us grow and helps us know which direction to move in. Also, if you have any suggestions for guests, please email me at commercialkitchenchronicles@gmail.com. Or if you want to be a guest, email me. Love to have you guys on. Thanks a lot. See you next week.